Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here for another installment of this amazing, I would say, venture in which that we're a part of. And I'm just so happy and thankful just to be a part of this, guys, and everything in which that we are currently doing. And it seems like as far as things is much more clearer now, so I had it clean as far as, my lens and all that good stuff. But hey, let's go ahead and have some fun here. So Sean White coming to you here live in Atlanta, Georgia, where all the magic happens. And welcome aboard, guys, on this Wednesday, very chilly day here. We're going to have a lot of fun here. We're going to have a lot of fun here. And I just want to say for all those that's in attendance, as you see in the description, Transformation Greatness, along with the Small Business Network podcast, will be featuring episode 13, right, of amazing entrepreneurs and individuals such as yourself. So I see, I'm going to let you come on. So let me just give you guys just a little bit of background, then we're going to go ahead and get started. So what the Small Business Network is, guys, is that we're a community in which that we give entrepreneurs, those an opportunity, really as far as to spotlight themselves in their true greatness. We love as far as to have those, through the power of internet, TV, and radio, we love to have like coaches, entrepreneurs, small business professionals, therapists, authors, coaches, a little bit of everybody. Those that have a message and that are really serious and passionate as far as for their business and brand. And what better way to jumpstart 2023 is as far as really to being a part of a community that truly supports that, right? And give you the opportunity to shine. So with that being said, I'm going to bring on as far as my special guest. And this is someone here that I really hope that you guys, have your questions ready, because she is someone that is super duper talented, right? She is a wordsmith. She is someone that is an entrepreneur, right? She's a coach. She is about her business. She's also a mom. So for all those that may say, well, I'm a mom and, I'm just too busy. I don't have no time to build up my business or my brand. Well, guess what? This individual here is going to go ahead and bust that. She's going to blow it right out the water because she's definitely doing that. So with no further ado, because this is not about me, guys, this is about my special guest. For those, do me a favor, Ashley, if you're catching this live, put in hashtag live. Let us know exactly where you're tuning in from, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're catching us on the replay, go ahead and do the same thing. So with no further ado, we have here our very special guest this evening, the one, the only Wordsmith, right? Herself, Miss Halisi Ali, hailing all the way from the West Coast. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me. And I got to correct you. I am the wisdom wordsmith.
Excuse me. You know what? I stand corrected. The wisdom wordsmith. And you know what? I think that's actually perfect. That allows for us to segue as far as into our life. So what gave you the name of wisdom wordsmith? Where did that all come from?
Okay, God, that's a loaded question. I just want you to know. I'm really reflective, okay? So I spend even when I was married, I cultivated the name when I was married, but I spent a lot of time in reflection. And I grew up listening to Wu-Tang Clan, Rakim, you know what I'm saying? So I've always had an MC's heart. And at the time, I remember this gentleman asked me about joining a collective because I sing too, right? So he said, we need somebody that's versatile. We need somebody that can MC and sing. And so I birthed that name because I wanted to be cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't just want to like be Halisi when I MC'd. So Wisdom Wordsmith was kind of birthed. My ex-husband used to call me his whiz. I feel like I'm very intuitive. So even in my coaching, everything I do is led with my intuition. And so I was just playing with stuff like, okay, like I'm a poet, that's my roots. But I'm the advice person. So in my family, I'm who people come to, so I kind of brainstormed my name by what I did, if that makes sense. Um, and like I follow themes. So people would say like, oh, you're wise, like I'm humbled by these compliments, by the way. people would tell me things. And so I just kind of follow, you know, like what I feel like I'm given, you know, how I show up for others, I guess. So I don't know. I hope that wasn't too wordy, was it?
No, I mean, hey, you answered it exactly the way in which that it's supposed to be, in which I love that because through all that you said something that really grabbed my attention. You talked about intuition, right, and being intuitive. And I know a lot of people they have heard of intuition, right? They heard of being intuitive, but a lot of people really don't understand what that truly means. So from your experience, what does that mean as far as having intuition, being intuitive? Why, right? Why?
Yeah, so a lot of people ignore that little silent voice. Pinocchio is one of my favorite movies.
Mm,
Your conscience, that's what they call it. But it's that little voice inside of you, and it might tell you to do something crazy, and you're like, that's weird, I'm not gonna do that. That's your intuition. It's that little voice inside. It's not gonna go with the popular choice. It's gonna dare you to be courageous. Um, it's so small, sometimes people don't even hear it. So the more you listen to it, I feel like the louder it gets. But it's that little voice that most people tend to say, oh, that's crazy, or the gut feeling that they deny.
hmm. Interesting. Is that because, as far as that gut feeling or that inner voice which that you're speaking about, that they have been programmed as far as to ignore it, or maybe they're just too afraid to really embrace it? What do you say on that?
I think it's a combination of both. I was raised in church, right? So like I love church. Like I had no issue with the church, but as I grew older, I started finding that people were hearing God and what God was telling them. But I'm like, well, God told me to go over here. How come you didn't hear that? You know what I'm saying? So I think that we are programmed in the beginning, I guess, if you will, when we're all children, we have to listen to somebody, right? But hopefully that somebody is teaching you how to trust yourself. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think that people aren't always as courageous, but I think that we're also programmed to trust others
Mm,
more than ourselves.
mm. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. And because of the fact that you are a coach, can you tell us a little bit more about your brand in a nutshell? Like what it stands for? What are you currently doing? What you created? Because I know as far as that you do have some singles out, which by the way, is very nice. It's more so in terms of like spoken word, which I'm a huge fan about. So can you just dive in more with the audience and let them know about your talent?
Yeah. So when I created Divine Generations, that was what it was called. If it was Divine Generations, and when it was first birthed, it was a family. It's still something that I see for my family. So I care very much about legacy. So that is a value that I have that I want to be able to leave my children. Like I want to really do something in my life that when I leave, they have a clear direction of where they're going, and that they have something, like I've already breathed life into the template for them,
Right.
right? So Divine Generations was born because my daughter was making makeup. She was in the
Mm,
6th grade and she started making lip gloss. But then I was coaching, right? And I guess, I mean, again, I keep going back to how did I get started? People would come to me to listen. So I listened a lot, right? And I decided, I did a couple speaking engagements, like telling my own story. Um, there's so many paradigms to me. And
mm,
so I shared my story about when I moved to Seattle and I was displaced with my children. I had 3 kids at the time.
okay.
And so I decided that I would use my voice and my story to show others like how to navigate, like, so that's kind of how it was birthed. Um, and then before, this is way before the pandemic, it was probably about like 10 years ago, I started doing advocacy in schools. So I was the person, I worked with a group. They're called the Seattle Discipline Coalition. And I was the person who would show up to IEP meetings and 504 meetings, with the bad kids.
Mm,
I
gotcha.
would show up to those meetings with parents and literally hold hands under the table to keep a parent from jumping on the principal.
Wow. Wow.
So
Wow.
that's how it started, right? I am an emotion coach. I call myself an inner voice emotion coach, right? And I told you that intuition, most people don't listen to their inner voice. Or if they are listening to it, their inner voice is telling them to do crazy shit. Like,
Okay.
you should not do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are right in your righteousness of wanting to express, but maybe you shouldn't lunge across the table at the principal.
Mm,
Maybe that's not a good idea, right? So
okay.
I started to put together how I would educate people on communicating their emotions. But first, before you can communicate them, you got to be in touch with how you even feel, right? Most people are not comfortable just saying, I'm uncomfortable with that question. They
Right.
will answer it even though they're uncomfortable. So um I've said so much, but I mean, those were kind of the makings of it, right? And so you asked me, what am I doing now?
Right.
Right now, I am wanting to put my music on public platforms. I am a perfectionist. I do have a mentor who always tells me, he's like, you need to get it out now, but I want to add some things to it before I put it out.
Okay.
So I'm working on music. I am reformatting my children's book, The Story of Naturella. I'm also in the makings of producing my second children's book, I Dreamed I Was a Dragonfly.
Mm.
And also launching my podcast just in a week or two.
Yeah, talk
It's
about that.
The Venting Mom presents the Small Business Network. And I'm a parent, and so I try to be broad, right? When the pandemic happened, I started coaching men, right?
Okay.
And that was great. Some of those men were dads, some of them weren't. But I had to stay true to the heart of myself, which is I love parents. I'm a parent. I homeschooled for 5 years, and so I love parents. And so I'm going to be bringing on business owners who are also parents. They have very dynamic stories. And I like how they do their business and, how they fit being a parent with their business. So,
Mm.
yes, a lot. I mean, I'm always cooking many things at once. So I probably could go on and on. I have desires to start to have a documentary for men where I bring men on to talk about their own healing journey and how they learn to communicate their emotions. So
Now, in terms of that documentary, because I think that would be great, and honestly, I'm really seeing like a huge trend that's going towards that, where people are starting to do documentaries. Because for like the past month, few months rather, I've been seeing a lot of people has really been creating these documentaries, like mini series and different things of that nature, and it's pretty cool, right? And it's pretty amazing. So let me ask you this: so for a person that's desiring to do something like that, but maybe because you said that you are a perfectionist, right? So for a person that's a perfectionist and that's looking to do something like that, what would you tell them if they have something that's very powerful, but yet they want to make sure that everything's correct before they go ahead and release it out to the world?
well, I just want to say, when I say perfectionist, I don't mean obsession with perfection, okay? I mean that I have a vision and how I want things to go. And I believe that proper preparation prevents poor performance,
Okay.
okay? So it's just a matter of the performance, right? But at the end of the day, you got to be like Nike and you just got to do it. Like, that's what I'd say to the perfectionist. Um, it's funny because today is the first day of what is it, winter solstice. So
Hmm.
this is the first day of winter officially. And I did a little group thing with some ladies today, and she said something that stuck out to me. She says, everything that you already have is inside of you. So you can wait until everything is just right. There are some things like, as an artist, yes, I want my sound to sound a particular way.
Right.
But as it involves my coaching, that stuck out to me today, to just do it. Like, if you wait for the right time, it will never be the perfect time, So there are some things I do believe you just got to go in the strength you have. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I'm laughing because when I was in church, my pastor asked me, "Who's your favorite Bible character?" I was a young woman too. And everyone else said, like, Mary, Jesus, common
Right.
people. That's cool. But Gideon is my favorite.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
still my favorite, right? So it's like, you got to go in the strength you got. Like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you called to lead an army. You ain't never been an army general, but you are now. So
Right on. Right
gotta
on.
do it.
Right on. So, Wordsmith. So, in regards with that, right? If a person is watching this and they're like, "Wow, this is pretty awesome." I mean, she's planning on doing a documentary. She's going to be doing a podcast. She's doing a whole bunch of different things. How can the person be able to get a hold of you, right? What are your forms of communication for them? Because that's very important.
Yeah, so I am super responsive so I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook as Divine Generations Life Coaching. But also, if they're viewing this video, I mean, you can hit my personal inbox. I'm very responsive there. But I am able to be reached obviously by email. I'm going through a little bit of a rebrand and like uplifting my website and stuff. So they can reach me at homeschooldivine@gmail.com. Or you could just call me at 206-779-7491.
Awesome. Just make sure when this interview is over with, definitely make sure that you put all your social media handles in, so that way people can definitely go ahead and find ways to connect with you. And just one last question, I'm going to kind of throw a monkey wrench in the equation, right? Because I like to be spontaneous here. So based upon you knowing Dr. James, right, and everything in which that he has built, right, from the time that you have known up until about now, for a person that's watching this, right, and maybe they may have some doubts, right? They may say, well, I don't know this person, I don't know you. Why in God's name should I trust you? What would be your honest assessment about everything with that, from where the Small Business Network has started to where it has grown now, and including with the podcast element?
um Wow. I think the greatest, I know that people may not know us, but I think that what they say, your vibe attracts your tribe. And one thing I admire about all the people that work with the Small Business Network is that their desire, like their passion level, is so on fire. Like, you know, um, there are people who say they do things, and then there are people who do things. And so I would say, if you want to be a doer and not just talk about it, get out your head, then you do need to reach out to us. Take a chance. Like, life is about taking a chance and connecting. Like, you will never know unless you take a chance. So um, I know Dr. James has always like just kept me momentous and like on fire. You know what I'm saying? It's easy for your fire to get a little, you imagine a candle when the wind blows,
Right.
how it
Right.
flickers. It's easy to have that flickering, but it's nice when, if you put a candle to a fireplace, that candle's not going out. You know what I'm saying? So to me, Dr. James is like the fireplace
Yeah.
or like an open fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And any successful person can go ahead and tell you, right, that, they're going to have days like that, right? That it's going to be days in which or stretches where you're going to be like literally unstoppable. You're going to be like a well-oiled machine. And then,
Mhm.
of course, it's going to be because we're human, you're going to have days where you may not feel it, right? You may not be feeling it. But any successful person will tell you is that that's just human nature, right? We go through things. But what makes you get to that next level is really having that consistency and that tenacity. And also, it is really all about having, as far as the right people, as far as in your circle, right? Your tribe is
Exactly.
very, very important. And it doesn't make. I'm not even going to throw out the cliches and everything because you guys have heard it all. But the point is that especially with 2023, in order to get to that next level, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, a person has to make a decision. They really had to make a
Yeah.
decision, and that's just the bottom line. Because if you haven't made that committed decision, then anything that you do at that point is going to be pointless because you haven't committed yet to your dreams and to your goals and to your legacy. And until you do that, nothing's going to change. I might have burst somebody's bubbles in, but hey, I gotta be real with you.
Yeah.
Wordsmith, we are getting close to that time of wrapping things up. I definitely do appreciate you. Do you have any final words for the listening audience, those that may be live or that be casting this on a replay in the near future?
I guess I've said so much, but my saying is get real and heal. And I know people say, you gotta heal. Like heal is like a trending word right now. But it's really time for us to tap into ourselves. Like we all been programmed to work a job, to do these things that make money. You can either do those things or you can live from your heart and your passions, right? And that takes a certain level of honesty. It also takes how you talk to yourself. So I'm hoping that somebody will reach out to me, and let's get this started. I am going to be starting group coaching next year. So people don't have to feel like, some people are just on the spot with doing one-on-one stuff. But I'll have some group options and putting together some courses. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this 2023.
Absolutely. Awesome, awesome. Wordsmith, after this interview is over, I'm definitely going to be having a conversation with you. But for everybody else, guys, I mean, hey, you heard it from the Wordsmith herself. Very versatile. She basically told you flat out everything in which that she's currently doing and will be doing. So if you're interested, and I know you are, just listening to this and watching this, by all means, please feel free to go ahead and reach out to her. And also, as well, for everyone else that's in the listening audience, hey, here with the Small Business Network, we are definitely here to help you reach to the next level. And if that's something that you're truly serious and interested in, by all means, please feel free to reach out to myself or also my business partner, Dr. James McConnell, which is there in the listening audience commenting. I appreciate you, brother. And let's have a conversation, guys. Let's have a conversation because we're all here as far as to get to the next level. And also for those as well, hey, if you like this, how the way we have everything set up, and you're like, oh, you know what, that would be amazing. I would love to be a part of something like this. Then by all means, let's have a conversation as well. So until then, this has been episode 13 from the Small Business Network podcast, along with my special guest here, the wordsmith herself, Miss Halisi Ali, also known here as Wisdom How. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we're going to end this like basically doing all of our others. And if what we stated on here either motivated, transformed, or inspired at least one person, may God be the glory, and we take no credit for absolutely none of it. Until then, you're all amazing. Stay warm out there. And by His grace and mercy, look forward to seeing you all on the next one. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Peace.